Brandon Lewis here, braving the elements. As you can see, to make sure you get the news, the mainstream media will never bring you. Well, GOP leaders Sexton and McNally allow the Tennessee conservatives reporter full access, just like they do Democrat Phil Williams. Time will tell. Tennessee taxpayer-funded lobbyists rake in over $5 million per year. Venezuelan illegal aliens, possible gang members, busted at home-turned brothel in Nashville area. 4 Memphis shooting suspects thought to be related to a Latino street gang. New bill filed to prevent illegal immigrants and convicted felons from registering to vote in Tennessee. Tennessee hospitals implement visitor restrictions reminiscent of COVID. Senator Mark Pody files 2 bills to combat government overreach and more. Brandon Lewis here with a 10-Con Big 7 weekend update. If you're unfamiliar with our news publication, please do go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com, hit that subscribe button, get your free subscription. We will tell you exactly what's happening with about 14 or 15 state-level stories each and every day. You can go to X and follow us there, along with Gab, Getter, Truth, MeWe, and Rumble. And if you would rather, you can text 423-205-5600, 423-205-5600 with the word news, text news, and you will also get a free subscription. I'm going to forego throwing these things over my shoulder for the first time ever, mainly because I don't want to dig them out of the snow. I know it's a weak move, but I'm making it. First story. Will GOP leaders Sexton and McNally refuse your reporter in Nashville? So many of you donated to make sure that Adelia Kirchner could go for the first time ever to Nashville. And these are donations that came from GOP elected officials, officers in clubs, leaders of grassroots groups, and GOP primary voters all over the state of Tennessee. As of now, I think it's about 2:30 on Friday, I've heard nothing from McNally's office. I've called and left a message. I sent a message to the lady that replaced Connie Ridley. I sent another message to another gentleman named Kevin, I believe. I've heard nothing. And I copied almost every conservative lawmaker in the House that I could, so it's not like this thing is happening in a corner. So here's the plan. On Monday, if I have not heard anything from Cameron Sexton, you will start receiving calls, emails, and text messages from me with his phone number asking you to call and ask him why he is refusing the state's only conservative news publication access when he grants it to Democrats. I think this is a bad look politically. I don't see what he thinks to gain. Here's the second step. If he is unswayed by what you send him, we are going to file a lawsuit. I may need your help with that financially as well. But that's the only thing I know to do at this point. If you know the man, if you've got a personal relationship with him or a direct line, please do text or email him, because I think it is unforgivably stupid. And honestly, I mean, if y'all are keeping up, I think it kind of just reinforces what we report on here. And it's that leadership is just not that conservative. If they were, they would not be afraid of the state's only conservative news alternative asking them a question respectfully from time to time. Next story. This is one of the big problems we have up in Nashville, and it is egregious and should be eliminated. Tennessee taxpayer-funded lobbyists rake in over $5 million per year. Lobbyists who receive state-paid salaries by you pay these people, are receiving roughly $5,496,540 per year to lobby for government interest over the interests of average day Tennesseans. When you hear about illegal immigration reforms being brought, or you hear about things that you think should pass, very often, whether they're from the governor's office, whether they're from some state agency or the education department, I kid you not, they take your taxpayer dollars to go lobby against things that are in your interest. This should not be allowed. I mean, it's bad enough that we can't get government employees to perform in Tennessee education, and that is our largest center of government employees in the state. But now we got folks we have to fund to work against us. Lobbyists populate the halls of Tennessee's Capitol building to interact with lawmakers and other individuals of influence. However, the vast majority of lobbyists, and ultimately those who can afford to be at the Capitol on a daily basis, are either being paid by private corporate interest groups or a government entity. State-level employees are not only taxpayer-funded lobbyists, some local governments also hire individuals to go to Nashville that the local government wants to angle for interest. One example of this is Will Danami, who receives between $80,000 and $100,000 in taxpayers' funds per year to lobby the assessor of property association, as well as Hamilton, Williamson, Blount, and Davidson County. Why are we paying people like Will out of our pocket as taxpayers to go lobby for the government? And often I'm telling you, it's against your interest. This needs to stop. We don't need to be paying people in the governor's office, the sheriff's department. I don't care which government agency you're from. If you want to go up there and lobby on your own time, in your own dime. Do it after hours if it's that important. Take off work like every citizen lobbyist does that goes up there and lobbies for free without pay. But we should not have education, health care, health and human services. Nobody should be going up to the Capitol at your and my expense to lobby against our interests. Next story. Venezuelan illegal aliens, possible gang members, busted at home-turned brothel in Nashville area. This week, a raid on a home-turned brothel in Antioch led to 5 Hispanic men being arrested in a multi-agency investigation. All 5 who were in the U.S. illegally. Why are they here? Because Republicans have yet to cut off the welfare, the job, the transportation, and the free education magnets. That's why they're here. And we have some opportunities to do that this session. We'll see how it goes. All 5 who are in the U.S. illegally in Tennessee remained in custody due to an ICE detainer. A spokesman for the MNPD said that the men are believed to be of Venezuelan origin. Last month, TBI Director David Rausch spoke about the background of Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua and how they have an established presence in Tennessee. TDA is known for its involvement in human trafficking when the first started gaining presence in another country and then expanded into drug trafficking and theft. During the search of the brothel, investigators found that the upstairs level of the house had been divided into several small spaces that were clearly being used for prostitution purposes. Business cards and ledgers associated with the promotion of prostitution were seized from the property, along with more than a pound of the devil's lettuce, marijuana. According to MNPD, this brothel is connected with 2 more in the area. Hey, it's a chain, right? Now listen, I just got an idea here. It came to me. If y'all have a chain of these brothels, I would recommend strongly that you hire a lobbyist and that you go up to the Capitol, and I bet you could probably get some government money. They'll call it economic development money. We call it corporate welfare. And say, hey, listen, we're expanding. We'd really like to put our brothel here in Tennessee, but man, if we don't get some corporate kickbacks, we're going to have to take the brothel to Alabama. So just something to think about for those of you who were recently busted. It seems to work for a lot of people. Next story. 4 Memphis shootings suspected to be Latino street gang related in the early morning of January 3rd. 4 shootings occurred within 2 hours of each other, and the Memphis Police Department suspects the shooters could be tied to the Latino street gang, Sir 13 Loco. I think that means you're so crazy, 13. I don't know. That's what 2 years of government Spanish taught me. MPD relayed that the victims involved were all Hispanic. The gunman used the same vehicle in all 4 shootings, and threats made to one of the victims implied the shooters could be linked to the gang, also known as Choreñas. I don't know how to pronounce that, in homage to the Mexican mafia. This gang's stronghold is in Southern California, but the gang has been confirmed in 35 states and parts of Mexico, etc. The gang has ties to the Gulf Cartel. The Memphis shootings came on the heels of TBI's announcement that violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Agua has resurfaced in Tennessee. Now, of course, the liberal media in Tennessee acts like none of this is happening, that it's overblown, that we don't have an illegal immigration problem. It's crazy to me. They have no interest in fixing this. Guys, listen, we had a pretty good annual fund campaign. I'm not going to lie, it was good. But we spent about $9,000 on the mail. Our list has gotten much bigger, and sometimes we spend a lot of money mailing people that don't give. And as a result, you know, money comes in and then money goes out. You've got to do it, right? I've been doing nonprofit and political work for a long time, and essentially the Tennessee Conservative operates as a for-profit nonprofit. And why I say that is because there's no profits, because I don't take a salary and there's just enough money to keep us going. And so we're going to have to start doing a monthly outlay for Adelia up in Nashville. And we're going to go up there whether Cameron Sexton refuses us or not. And then, of course, if we are refused, we're going to have to find an attorney and see what they're going to charge us to file a lawsuit. And so for all those reasons and more, if you could pitch in, if you didn't somehow, some way pitch into the annual fund campaign, if you've given a long time ago, or worse yet, if you've never given, please do go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com, hit that support button, or TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. You can mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. Again, that's P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. We're your state's only conservative news alternative. Often we are hanging by a thread and the grace of God. So if you could send in $1 or $2, like the Democrats do for the Tennessee Holler, and like the corporations do for Phil Williams, we would appreciate it. Next story. New bill filed to prevent illegal immigrants and convicted felons from registering to vote in Tennessee. The Tennessee House Republican Caucus announced the filing of, quote, legislation establishing major safeguards to strengthen election integrity in Tennessee. This is being brought by Majority Leader William Lamberth. According to the House Republican Caucus, this legislation aims to do three things. It requires the Tennessee Secretary of State to work with local and state elected officials to create a secure electronic portal for the county election administrators to verify U.S. citizenship. Requires the coordinator of elections in collaboration with the TBI to create a similar portal to verify whether someone is ineligible to vote because of felonies. So one deals with illegal immigration, the other is a felony, and a visual distinction on the license, meaning, I don't know what it would say. Illegal immigrant is probably what it should say. It should say, illegal immigrant, sorry we've let them in the state for 4 years and not done anything about it despite knowing there was a big crisis. I don't know if you could get that in small print right at the bottom, but I don't think they'll do that. But it's just a suggestion, as many of them go on deaf ears. Next story. Tennessee hospitals implement visitor restrictions reminiscent of COVID protocols from 4 years ago. Ballad Health, which is typically in the news in a negative connotation almost exclusively. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're the ones that have the huge rural monopoly that people are unpleased with. A government-granted monopoly. What could go wrong? Ballad Health issued an advisory last week, effective immediately at all of its facilities across Tennessee, to limit visitors to groups of 2 adults per patient and bans anyone younger from 18 visiting altogether due to the flu. If I'm in the damn hospital, you're telling me that my kids can't come see me? Ballad Health? Yeah, I'm sure people like that. Exceptions are made only for those patients nearing end of life, family births, minor patients at Niswonger Children's Hospital, anyone with flu-like symptoms, etc. You know the story. I don't need to read the rest of this. Senator Mark Podia, he's a good one, files 2 bills to combat government overreach. Senator Mark Podia has filed 2 pieces of legislation aimed at protecting Tennesseans on the state and national and international levels. The first bill would declare that an international policy-making organization like they did such a good job during COVID. They got it all right. The World Health Organization, the United Nations, who hates democracy and embraces and loves communism and is very anti-Semitic, or the World Economic Forum, who wants you to own nothing and be happy and eat bugs. Imagine why we wouldn't want to give our state and our national sovereignty to these people. But a lot of people do. For example, in Chattanooga, we had that smart city, quote-unquote, project, which essentially is a huge surveillance operation that wants to limit people's private property rights and their ability to travel. And that's where it's headed. It's written in the daggum thing that they agreed to. They took money for it. It's what they are slow marching toward. Just like the hellscape of California we see burning right now. Bad policies, Democrat-led states and cities are in a mess. Republicans get there too. They just get there slower. It would also prohibit state governmental entities from adopting or enforcing laws or rules based on recommendations of international policy-making organizations authorized by state law. Additionally, it specifies that a state government entity includes all public educational institutions through both secondary colleges and universities. The second bill, and this is a big one, seeks to limit the governor's authority and powers if they contravene or undermine the rights of the citizenry. It would prohibit orders, proclamations, or rules issued by the governor under his emergency management powers from suspending or conflicting with any part of the Tennessee Constitution. And we know now, A.G. Scarametti has issued an opinion that everything Bill Lee did was unconstitutional. He shuttered small businesses, put them out of business. People lost their homes and their businesses. He's never come to account for that. He's never paid a penny for it. All the trying to cancel people gathering together as if a governor has the power to do that to his people. All that BS that we endured, mask mandates, being pushed for vaccines, people losing their jobs. A lot of that would not have happened if these emergency powers had been done away with. And it surprises me, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, that the state legislature did not grow a you-know-what and say, you know what, I don't know. It seems to me, looking around, that I think we're a separate branch of government. Maybe we should stand up for our constituents. No, we let Billy do all the decision-making so that we could point the finger at him and not take any of the blame and none of the responsibility either. They could have saved us a tremendous amount of suffering in Tennessee had they acted, but they didn't. And so hopefully, if nothing else, out of a sheer sense of regret, maybe they'll do it now. All right, guys, that's the end of the newscast. And I know that I typically do the mailbag at the beginning, and I forgot. So I'm going to read some of these now. I'm a little backed up on the mailbag. I got one here. It's a Christmas card. I know we're celebrating Christmas here this weekend with some friends. We've got the Christmas tree up. I hope they can make it. They're coming from Alabama. We'll see. I'm going to talk to them later. It says, Dear Brandon, we thank you for your faithfulness, integrity, and honesty. We trust you also. Thank you for your family, for the sacrifice of time. John and Pat, thank you very much. Stalwart supporters. Dear Brandon, as the apostle said, lives of gold, and none but such as I have known gives. Oh, I'm sorry. Gene, I can't read it. I can't read it fast enough. Maybe I should have read it previously, but I appreciate you sending it. Got one from the Hatchets here, a little Christmas card. Thank you, Mr. Hatchet, for your support and for always keeping me in the know. Got another one here from Mary Ann. It says, Dear Brandon Lewis, I am forever grateful for your work in exposing the rhinos. There are some really evil, bought-off politicians in Tennessee. Tell it like it is, Mary Ann. Keep up the good fight. Appreciate you so much, Mary Ann. I appreciate you, too. We could not do it without you. Nan Bouchard says, thanks for keeping us informed. Dear Brandon Lewis, thank you for all you do and your team at the Tennessee Conservative. Can't imagine the time and energy it takes. I can imagine it. Steve, it says, quote, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord of hosts. All right, two more. Thank you for the beautiful Christmas card. Wishing you and your beautiful family a blessed Christmas season. Thank you for all you do. Wish I could do a monthly donation, but this is the best I can do at the time. Hey, I'll take it. I'm happy. We use all this stuff. And I also got this wonderful book, Tell Everyone About Jesus. It was sent to me by Donna. I'm not going to use your last name. I wanted to send you a donation a while back, but wanted you to also have a copy of my book to send with it. Please forgive me for the delay. I wish I could send more, but you know how it is. And this is what I mean. Cameron Sexton wants to deny little old ladies that are GOP primary voters from having the reporter they funded because he's afraid that people might figure out what's going on up there, I suppose. Makes no sense to me. You know, and I'd like to think that since I have been doing this job, I've been highly critical. I'll completely give you that. But the only reason I've been highly critical of TN GOP leadership is because they talk like they're going to do something and they never do. If you want me to stay off your case, just promise what you deliver and then deliver it, which is we're going to do a bunch of ceremonial stuff. That ain't going to make much of a bit of a difference. We're going to put programs and messages out that aren't really truthful, and then we're going to run around and campaign in a completely different way. Now, if you campaign in a different way, you'd have to campaign in that you're going to do very mediocre things that don't make a big difference, especially if it offends any corporations or government employees. But that's not how they campaign. They campaign like they are going to be more conservative than Brandon Lewis. They do. They campaign like that, and then they go vote like moderate Democrats. That's how they vote in many cases. Maybe slightly conservative Democrats, but not conservative Republicans. And so that's why I have constantly stayed on their case. And, you know, the funny thing is, I get called names by leadership, but I never have anybody say, oh, well, that's not true. Like I recently did a video on what it's going to cost to do these school vouchers, did the math. It's shocking. It's fiscally irresponsible. It's a kick in the you-know-what to the Tennessee taxpayer. But I asked him, I said, I'm being serious. Like, can you look at this and make sure that I haven't made an error? No reply. And you know what that tells you? It's true. They don't want people to know it. And so right now we're getting a snow job by Bill Lee on school vouchers. I'm all for school choice. I just think it can be done a much better way. No strings attached, tax rebate, Very easy to do. I would love to see that for everybody who has school-age children. It's a starting point that is clean and simple, and I think everybody could get on board with. And again, it perplexes me that we continually and constantly have to bribe the government employees that work for us to do what's in our best interest. Seems like the right thing to do, just to do what's in the citizens' interest to begin with. I don't know. What's going on this weekend? Boy, my annual event for the Painting Profit Summit is 2 weeks away. I'm sweating it. Working, burning the midnight oil. If I don't get back to your emails over the next 2 or 3 weeks, that's why. I'm out there earning a living because it's the busiest time of year for me. My best friend, I hope, is coming up from Alabama to sight the snow to do a little late Christmas celebration with me and his beautiful wife. And then I guess we probably won't get out much this weekend. I doubt we'll make it to church. I mean, we may. I don't know how long. The roads probably aren't too bad. We'll see what's going on. I have no idea. But it should be fun. It should be a fun time. The girls have already been out playing in the snow. We broke our snow sleds last year. They were not very good. And I got too late to Ace Hardware to get new ones this year. So we used a boogie board. And it did not quite work. So I'm going to see if I can find something for them to scoot around on. Love you. Mean it. Thank you for all you do. Brandon Lewis here with the 10 Con Big 7. See you next time. Happy New Year.